Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Coco Nomad channel. And this is yet another retrospective. And here on the Coco Nomad channel, I talk about financial independence, location independence, remote work, and travel. So if you want to be involved in the discussions and hear more about this, then please click like. And that helps the channel, as well as clicking subscribe and the notification bell to be notified when new videos like this are dropping off. And when I do retrospectives, I just review the previous 2 weeks, the things that I'm working on. I like to take stock of what's working, what's not working, things that I need to change, things that are bothering me. And so I encourage people to do the same thing. I think it's a good practice. I got it from work, actually, in my career as a software developer. We do retrospectives in as a team, as an organization, to reflect and make the improvements that we want to make. And I found that it was very helpful for me in my own life to do the same thing. So let's go ahead and dive in. We always start with what went well. I like to start off on a positive note. So let's review in the last couple of weeks what went well. And the first thing that really went well is the options trading. I've mentioned in some previous videos and that I was getting started, made my first options trades. Now I've been doing it for a few weeks, and so far it's actually been working very, very well. I'm using conservative strategies. I'm not trying to do anything that's really complicated for a couple of reasons. One, it just doesn't fit my style and my risk tolerance profile, and two, honestly don't really know enough. I don't know enough about that stuff to really take a dip and try some of the riskier, or what I consider riskier strategies. So I've been keeping it simple, and keeping it simple so far has worked for me. So we'll see what transpires. If you're interested, I will drop a link to my investment reports and my income stream reports, so you can get an idea of how that's going in terms of individual trades that I'm making. Although I'm not giving investment advice, and I highly advise you do not take it from someone who's literally just said it just started doing this a few weeks ago. But it does give you an idea of the kinds of things that I'm doing. You can explore it on your own. And then my income stream reports, as you can follow on the journey, as I'm trying to sort of really have some diversity in my income portfolio. I am really tongue tied today. I don't know what's going on. So just want that diversity. I mean, I love my job, and that's great. And I love my client work and some of the other things, but I really like having multiple things going on. It just does something for me in the way that I like to work on things. And it provides a bit of stability and security just in case one of these streams kind of goes sideways. So check those out at your leisure. The second thing that has been going really well is therapy. I think I've mentioned probably about a month ago that I had gone back into therapy after years and years of not doing it. And I have to say, this is a bit different because the first time I did it was more related to grief than it was to just ongoing things in life. And I really needed to do it at the time. I'd lost my father and my grandmother and a friend. And so it was like really a lot going on. And so now it's more about the direction I want to take in life. The benefits from the previous time really helped me sort of make my way. And now I'm using it to sort of help make my way even further, to really thrive and not just sort of survive or get over trauma. And we are getting to the good part in the therapy, which is relationships, which admittedly I am terrible at. So we're really working on that stuff, and I think we'll be spending quite a bit of time actually digging into why I'm not great at it and what I can do to improve. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then the third thing that went really well was I finally interviewed my first guest for the channel, and I'm really excited about it. It's someone that I met in Playa del Carmen last year in December. I guess it was around December, and we just had some similarities in our journeys. And I just thought it would be great to have a conversation. We're actually chatting, and that's what sparked it. We're having a chat about the financial independence, retire early movement, and our own journeys with that, and our own journeys with remote work and how long we've been doing it and traveling. And said, oh, this would be a great opportunity to show us perspective of someone else who is doing the same thing. And we all have our different struggles, but we all have our own path, and it was just nice to sort of talk about those things with someone else. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you very, very soon. Now, highlighted three things that went well, got off to a good start. And I want to talk about one thing that didn't go well. It's actually a bit of a surprise, and that is one of my apps was removed from the App Store. And it really caught me by surprise because I thought that it adhered to all of the app review standards. And it's a very, very simple app. It wasn't something that was super complicated. And I'm surprised because this was written in Swift UI, which is the newer sort of approach to developing apps on the Apple platform. And my previous app, my other app, is still there. I That one was temporarily removed, but that was only because I needed to sign the new developer agreement with the banking statements and all that kind of stuff. And that didn't take long, and it was back in the App Store. Whereas this one, I thought there's no way that this would get taken out. It's like it's super simple. It's literally like three screens. So I have to rewrite it or at least figure out why and to resubmit it, which I'm going to go ahead and do. And I'll talk about that more and what's next because there's a silver lining there. And so when we move to the next section, I wanted to look at what I've learned. And the biggest lesson that's come to me recently is because of my experience, new experience with options trading, that the adage that your mileage may vary. So I've watched hours and hours and hours of different YouTubers talking about trading, talking about investing, and getting their different perspectives on the different techniques that they use. And one of the things that I kept hearing is that, oh, it's very rare that you'll get assigned any options, even if it's in the money. Don't worry about what that means. It's just that the condition that occurs, they were saying, lots of people were saying that it was still unlikely that I would get assigned. Well, I'm going to drop a link to on one of my more recent videos on my trades. All of the options I had that closed last week got assigned. So that was the biggest lesson that I learned, is that just because a lot of people are saying that they're having an experience does not mean that you're going to have the same experience, because I was 6 for 6 in getting assigned. And I thought it was going to be like maybe half or two, one or two, based on what I had been hearing. So that meant that I need to change the strategy that I'm using moving forward. Just a bit of a tweak, but just one of those things, just understand it. Like even listening to me and some of the things that I do and encouraging people to do different things, you still have to understand that my experience and your experience may still not be the same. And so you want to be mindful of that and keep an open mind and be aware that if you might have to make a couple of adjustments in your approach. So that moves us into the next section, which is what still puzzles or scares me. And the first thing that's puzzling me right now is actually a good thing, but I'm just a little nervous about it because I'm not used to it. And that is staying here in Mexico City. This particular trip has been great. Original plan was to, well, my original plan wasn't even to be here. My original plans got canceled. I was supposed to be in Dominica and Belize, and that fell through. So I decided to come here, and I had a particular purpose. I wanted to live near this park, this huge park. It's like twice as big as Central Park. And even today, I just discovered an entire new section of the park. I'd been enjoying one section of the park for months. I had a friend come, toured it around, have another friend come and show them around the park, and then realized a couple of days ago with a friend going out to watch Lucha Libre, which is also really fun here in Mexico, that there's an entire second section. There's actually three sections, so I'm still, there's still another section to see. But I went to run that one this morning, and it is massive. It was like so much over there. So I definitely will be splitting my time in these other sections. It's a little more difficult to get to because I literally live like a block and a half from the entrance to section one, which is why I chose this location. But I say all that to say that between my full-time work and all the other work that I'm doing, and like I have friends here already, and the things that I'm doing, I'm really enjoying being here. And it's conflicting, butting up against the whole like, hey, I'm a digital nomad, right? I'm supposed to be just like moving around, which I've done some this year. I mean, I've definitely lived in 3 or 4 different places this year, but I'm wondering if I should just stay where I am right now, especially because the job is still fairly new, and some of the things that I'm doing are still fairly new. The options trading is very new. I'm really getting settled into this YouTube thing and my routine, and I have a nice routine. I have a coffee shop that I love to go to. I've got friends that I like hanging out with, and so it's like, do I really want to like upset that right now? Now, granted, I had these possible travel friends with another friend here who also is going through the same dilemma. We were going to go to Jordan and Lebanon and Turkey for the first 3 months of next year. Well, because of the economy, Lebanon's probably not going to work right now. There's a bit of turmoil there, but we still could have done the other 2 countries and inserted a third country like Georgia or Egypt or Ethiopia or something. Well, maybe not Ethiopia, but somewhere else. And now we're both thinking, well, things are really going well for us right now here. And it was just interesting to have that conversation with someone else who was going through the same thing. So I've got to figure out in the next couple of weeks what I'm going to do. If I'm going to stay here, I mean, I'm going to go home for Thanksgiving for a couple of weeks and maybe to get the new Mac Pro M1 Max because I just saw the event and I am super excited about it. But that thing is expensive. And I just bought this one. So I'm going to have to get a really good price to sell this one to upgrade to that one. But I think it might be worth it. So we'll see. I'll make a decision in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll announce it on the channel if I'm going to be sticking around here in Mexico City for another couple of months. The other thing that's puzzling me, and it actually doesn't puzzle me, it scares me, but it's just one of those things that I kept butting up against for a long time. And that is because the app got removed from the App Store and I need to resubmit it and redo something, it may be a good time for me to go ahead and start making more videos for my other YouTube channel, which is dedicated to programming. And I resisted it for so long for a couple of reasons. And one of them is that I just didn't want to make sort of like introductory basic videos. And I don't know what that was about. So I really need to sit down and unpack why was I so against making it? I don't think it's beneath me, but it's like I thought my channel, I wanted to be geared towards intermediate to advanced developers. And the simple fact of the matter is, this platform, this new way of doing things is new for everybody. So everyone is basically starting over if you're doing this. So there's no reason to not do that, to cover the basics. And it's just a great way for me to make sure I have a firm understanding of it. The other reason why I avoided it is because I think there's a lot of there's other channels that have really done a good job of covering it. Channels like Paul Hudson's, channels like Sean Allen. Like I think that like they've done a great job. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for a fourth or fifth person who's making these videos as well. And the thing that helped me with this actually is guitar, because I'm starting over again with guitar. I used to play guitar years ago, but I put it down in favor of the drums and then doing nothing. And so I'm really starting over again with the guitar and just learning some of these basic things that I just never learned because I just played chords for songs, basic 3-chord rock. You can learn a lot of songs that way. And I think now I'm being confronted with the fact it's like, yeah, starting and having this practice of moving in the small steps and building upon the fundamentals is very, very important and useful, even as an advanced programmer, someone who's got, years of experience, helping other people go through those steps. It's a good exercise for me too. So even though it was not really scaring and puzzling me, it was kind of causing some confusion for me. And I think I've settled on just go ahead and do it. And so I think that's what leads into what's next, which is I will be starting the app rewrite and I'll be making new videos. So instead of rushing to get the app back in the store, I'll take my time making some of these videos and just showing how I put these screens together and introduce some of the basics and then resubmit it to the app store. So I really have those two benefits. One, the app goes back in, and then I start having videos for the other channel and start to get that ball rolling over there. And the second thing that's up next is I'll continue to learn about options trading and just there's so much. I've got a couple of options that I sold this week that I'm not sure it's the right way for me to do this moving forward. I'm battling some things there. It looks like it could be a risky play. I think I've mitigated the risk, but I'm not really sure how much of that risk I've mitigated. I'll talk about that in the upcoming investment report and see how that impacts my strategy moving forward. And then finally, I just need to sit down and weigh the pros and cons of staying here. I definitely want to be traveling again, and it's not to say that I won't spend. After the spring, I'll be ready to go out and start doing some more traveling. But the nice thing about this is, if I stay here now until like March timeframe, it helps me sort of solidify some things that we're doing at work, and I don't disrupt things by being in a different time zone. I'm staying in a time zone with my teammates. And I think that's important right now. But that also may mean I make a huge leap when it's time to go. I may just go ahead and jump to Thailand at that point. But who knows? I need to weigh the pros and the cons, what's working out well for me here, and what I might be missing out on if I don't go out and do some more exploring. So we'll see how that goes. So that concludes today's retrospective. As always, I really appreciate you watching and supporting the channel. Share in the comments what you're working on. Is there anything that you're struggling with, or what your plans are coming up either for the end of the year or the beginning of next year? I'm really interested in seeing what other people are doing and how they're handling, like, especially if you're already traveling or planning to make that first move. Like if you want to start 2022 working remotely or being in a different country, what are you doing right now that's helping you lead up to it? I'd be curious to know. As always, thanks again for the support. Have an amazing day, and I will talk to you next time. Cheers.